Sorry, Pastor, that the church is not as high on my priority list as it is on yours. I can't serve every Sunday. I can't greet every visitor and know every single person's name in the room. To my pastor, I'm sorry I talked about you behind your back and I wasn't a good friend. I'm sorry that you loved me more than I loved you. I'm sorry I never give. I'm sorry I've never given a penny to this church and I've been coming here for years. You should serve your church in some capacity. This is a community, and if you're going to show up and not contribute, you don't get a say. You don't get a say in any of it. A community that costs you nothing, is worth nothing, and means nothing to you. Everybody wants more outreach. Not everybody wants to give more. What happens is you put all your eggs in one basket that unfortunately is still held by human hands. I mean, I can love Jesus with all my heart and tell my pastor no sometimes. Welcome back to another episode of the Broom Tree Podcast. I'm your host, Eric, and I have my lovely co-host and amazing partner in life, Miss Amanda, DJ Panda, with us today.
It's Miss Amanda in the morning, DJ Panda at night.
It depends. You're a teacher by trade, and so many times you tell me stories of your students calling you Miss Amanda that sometimes I'm like, well, this is when you tell them we're in work mode.
Yeah,
you're Miss Amanda.
Or as Joe would call me, Miss Mama.
Miss Mama. So we've been crazy busy the last few months. Some of the things that have kind of happened since we spoke to our tree family last time. Joe is crazy. Joe is over 2.5. She's just a wrecking ball of fun and laughter and questions and excitement and more questions. And she's just so much fun. She's so curious. She's so smart. She's so tall.
Yes.
She's a very, very tall kid. She is over 3 feet tall and she is 2.5 years old.
Yeah.
So some of y'all be like, oh, that's not that tall. That's huge. Someone the other day thought she was a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So super proud of her. And since we recorded last, some of you might notice Miss Amanda
is not pregnant
anymore.
Hallelujah.
Baby Eli joined our Broom Tree family June 17th.
Yes.
Yeah, the day after our anniversary. So June 17th. Healthy little guy. He has been so amazing, so sweet, so cuddly. We have been a little busy, though, so he did have a food allergy similar to Joe, so we had to work through some of that.
Acid reflux,
the sleep regressions, all you name it.
Yeah.
Just typical newborn stuff, nothing too crazy, but that has made it very challenging to sit down, write content, film content, edit content, all of that. We have been all over the place, but we are finally at a consistent point right now, knock on wood, where more nights than not, he will sleep for about 6 to 8 hours. And if anyone has kids knows, getting that 6 hour uninterrupted is like, you're a new human. You feel like yourself again. When you have a baby, you go through a season. Sometimes it's a few weeks or a few months where you're just totally, I don't even feel like a human right now. I feel like a robot that's just keeping people alive. And we're kind of getting out of that season now, which is exciting. It is a little bittersweet because they do literally, it feels like he's a grown man now. Like I'm going to go fill out his FAFSA soon or something, you know? But we're super excited. Baby Eli joined us. So today's episode, we've actually been talking about this one for a minute. When we originally started the podcast, we wrote down in like 5-8 idea episodes of like, these are the ones like we want to talk about. And we've been kicking this one down the road, trying to get our heart in the right place for it. Today's episode is called Sorry, Pastor. Before you guys log off, I know some of our Broom Tree family are like, I ain't sorry. My pastor's an a-hole. But stop. Just stay for a minute. Hear me out. There are two halves to this conversation. The first half is things I would categorize it as like, sorry, not sorry. Sorry, Pastor, here's the boundaries I need to put in my life between me and the church or me and you or me and my ministry leader or whatever. Sorry, these are the things that I need to do. And it's kind of like a sorry, not sorry, because it's what I need. And that's healthy. And we're going to talk about why that's healthy. The second part, and this is the part you'll probably log off for, is, Pastor, here's the things I know I did wrong. I think if anyone truly comes to this podcast seeking knowledge, wisdom, resolution with their church or with their church leadership or with their own faith, a good majority of the people who claim church hurt or spiritual burnout or insert whatever the tagline is, even if it's 99 to 1, there is a part of you that allowed that circumstance to unfold. Now there are obviously extreme exceptions that you got blindsided, you got lied to, things like that,
or you just weren't aware of what you were doing.
But I think if you come into this conversation and you're wanting, you see the title "Sorry Pastor" and you think I'm just going to sit here for an hour and bash pastors, that's gonna be the first 30 minutes. But then I'm not gonna do that. But the last 30 minutes is gonna be challenging us too, because for almost every scenario, like I said, where there's a church hurt, there's probably a pastor hurt too.
Yeah.
The church, the Big C church, is made up of both parties. And I've spoken with several pastors. Some of the closest friends in my life are youth pastors, senior pastors, assistant pastors, whatever you want to call them. And I see their hearts broken all the time too.
Yeah.
But because they're in leadership, we often don't give them the platform or their position or the grace to have hurt feelings too. And so we're going to talk about both. I think, and what I just alluded to, I think it can be really easy to forget that pastors are people too, and they make the same mistakes and they have the same issues that the rest of us got.
Right.
The difference, I think, when the reason why it can be so easy to blame them is we are not full-time paid Christians. I think the unfair double standard is, although we don't do this quote unquote for a living, we're all called to the same standard.
Right.
And so, yes, you might get paid to be full time at the church. You live in this Jesus bubble all the time. Yes, but that doesn't surpass my responsibility as someone who's not a full time pastor to be kind and to be generous and to be outgoing and to serve and to love and all of that. Yes, there's probably a practical expectation. I would hope that my pastor prays just as much, if not more than me.
Yeah.
Because I'm at work all day. I hope you're praying a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like there are those practical expectations that I think are reasonable to assume of your church leadership. Yeah. But I also think it can be really easy for us to go, well, I'm not a pastor, so I don't have to deal with that. Or I shouldn't be held to that, whatever. They should be held to this. And in reality, we're all still supposed to be Christians.
Yeah.
They just get a little more time practicing than some of us do.
Yeah.
But I think on the flip side of that, I've heard from a lot of pastors when we were writing this content that they feel the challenge of when you live in that incubated church bubble all the time, you can sometimes forget the practical struggles of the world. Like when you work in an office at a church and no one's cursing, no one's doing drugs, no one's lying to each other.
Right.
And then you're trying to minister to the warehouse worker, the truck driver, the police officer, the nurse, the teacher, the whatever. And they're around that day in and day out. It can be sometimes pastors can become out of touch with the realities of trying to live a Christian life in a non-Christian environment because they're living a Christian life in a Christian environment.
I also think that we sometimes tie Christianity with the church, and pastors do that too, of my time at the church equals how good of a Christian I am, and as good of a Christian as you are, and those are two separate things.
Yeah. Quantity over quality, I think, can sometimes be misleading. The other thing I wrote down, and this is so that was to the church people, to the pastors. It's also important to remember that you are also a person. To that pastor who lives in that incubated life, it can become very easy to become very self-righteous because we reach a point where we go, I don't cuss anymore.
Right.
I don't drink anymore. I don't listen to that kind of music. I haven't been around that in years. And it's like, okay, if your church shuts down, you got to come work with me at FedEx. You're going to be hearing a lot of stuff you hadn't heard in a few years. And that's going to really challenge you with the practical, sometimes it can create that out of touch. And so to the pastors out there, lest you forget, you're just as much of a sinner as I am sometimes.
Yeah.
And it can be really easy to forget that.
Yeah.
I wrote this verse down, or I didn't write this verse, but
You wrote it down on your
notes. I wrote it down on my notes. I think if we would all take a little bit more time to apply these verses in Matthew 7, verses 3-5. If you're taking notes, Matthew 7, 3-5. I don't know who takes notes on a podcast, but that's the youth pastor in me. Sorry. Matthew 7, 3-5. And why worry about a speck in your friend's eye when you have a log in your own? How can you think of saying to your friend, let me help you get that speck out of your eye, when you can't see past the log in your own? Hypocrite. First, get rid of the log in your own eye, then you will see well enough to deal with the speck in your friend's eye. I think we would all do a lot better if we applied this verse. I think we would all be a lot quieter, a lot more gracious, a lot more humble, quicker to forgive,
a lot less comments.
But I think it goes. But I say this: it goes both ways. Pastors, sometimes you need to get the self-righteous speck out of your own eye and realize that maybe you are just as messed up as the rest of us. You just get more time to hide it.
Yeah.
And then to the other people who expect your pastor to be perfect, he or she is just as broken and messed up as you are. It just looks different for them. That's why Jesus said, all of you, focus on the speck in your own eye and we read over that, or we hear that verse so often, we go, yeah, for sure. But their spec really hurts me.
Right.
And it's like, you just look ridiculous. In the eyes of the Lord, you look ridiculous because Jesus is looking at you going, bro, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. I also think we like judge the size of the specks of like, that speck is it's just a little lie. I didn't go cheat on my wife, know,
and
like, and that's not.
And I love that. I love that you said that, because verse 3 says, why worry about the speck in your friends when you have a log in your own? Jesus is saying, whatever they got going on, it's probably worse for you. And I see so many times we do this, right? Where we see people go, well, my pastor did this and it hurt me. Okay. And they probably did it, and it probably did hurt you. But you go, now I'm done with church, I'm done with Jesus, I'm done with all that because he or she hurt me. And Jesus is going, they didn't hurt you. You were already hurting, and they just applied the final little pressure to the log that was already there.
Yeah.
And you're sitting around going, well, they do this and they do that, whatever. And Jesus says, that's a speck, and you got a log. You need to deal with your own crap. Yeah. And to whoever's listening to this podcast, pastor or congregation member, you need to deal with your own crap.
Yeah.
Before we start calling each other out.
Yeah.
That's just the practical reality. And I really do feel like so much conflict and so much petty argument and frustration and loss of relationship, loss of community over stupid stuff. And God is sitting in heaven and going, Pastor, you're arrogant. And I hate that. But you're a liar. And I hate that just as much. So you quit lying and you be a little bit more humble.
Yeah.
And both y'all just get along.
Yeah.
And it's like, we can't do that though, right? And so to those people, hey, Pastor, sorry if this hurts your feelings, but also, hey, Pastor, I'm sorry, because I know there are times where I was a bad. Sometimes you were in the wrong, and sometimes I was in the wrong. So let's get into it. Amanda's my stopwatch so that I don't go over.
Yeah, I'm going to try. I'm going to like give you a countdown every like 15 minutes.
So the first category, the sorry, not sorry, if you will. The first one we wrote down, sorry I can't come to church early and stay late every single weekend. Now, I put in parentheses, and we'll just touch this very quickly. I put non-paid volunteer workers.
Yeah.
The caveat to all of this conversation, if you are a paid employee at a church and you signed the dotted line that said you were willing to do X, Y, and Z for X amount of dollars, and you have an issue with the amount you're serving or the expectations or things like that, the first thing you need to do, and this is scriptural too, we'll talk about it in a minute, you need to sit down with your pastor and realign.
Yeah.
Do we change the expectations? Do I need to step down? Do we need to increase my money to make it more like where I can be here more? Because I know a lot of guys are like we were kind of in that in between. I need you to work 30 hours, but I can only pay you for 3.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. We see a lot of that.
Yeah.
But we also see a lot of, hey, I'm paying you 30 and you're only working 15.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? So, but this is for unpaid. This is for volunteers, which is 99.9% of Christians in the world. We don't get paid to do this. This is for you. So if you're paid and you're like, I'm tired of coming in 6 a.m. on Sunday and staying until everybody leaves. Okay. But if you sign the paper saying you're going to do that for your money, the first thing you need to do is quit accepting the money.
Yeah.
Or do the expectation, right? I worked at a warehouse for 10 years. I didn't get to pick my hours.
Yeah.
I didn't get to, I signed the paper that said I'll work for these dollars, and then you tell me what I'm working.
Yeah.
So, sorry I can't come to church early and stay late every weekend. It's healthy for me to have boundaries where some Sundays I sleep in and catch the late service or leave right after to take me and my family home to lunch, to do whatever it is we want to do. I know of some churches, and this isn't all, some churches ask their volunteers to get there as early as 5, 6, 7 in the morning, depending on your service times, and stay as late as 1 or 2, depending on your service times. And that's okay. But it might not always be healthy every single Sunday of every single weekend of the year. Ask me how I know.
Yeah.
It can become very draining and defeating to never be able to take your family to lunch, cook them breakfast, if you're being asked to constantly get there early and stay late. We can forget that the Sabbath is still set aside as a time for rest, to be with loved one, like to worship and to rest, right? And what we do is we conflate these two things where we say, my love for Jesus, I serve X amount of energy or hours or whatever you want to use because my love for Jesus is this much, and we correlate the two. And that's not fair. Those are two different. I can love Jesus with all my heart and tell my pastor no sometimes. I can love Jesus with all my heart and tell my church leadership, hey, I can't do that. I can only serve this number of weekends a month or a year or whatever. That's just how it is sometimes.
I think that's how the church becomes an idol in our life.
Yes.
Of we start to put the church above our family, our church above ourselves, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
When like you need to rest, you need to take care of your family. Don't be a better churchgoer than you are a husband.
Yeah, and I think I think about this. It makes us feel guilty or feel bad when we desire rest or a break because we correlated the two. When I want rest or I want to take a break, because I'm pulling down here, I must be sliding back. I hear that term a lot. I must be falling away or whatever back here. And it's like, no, I love Jesus with all my heart, but I hate coming to church right now because I'm tired of getting up super early. And there are times where that's the season of life you're in and you need to press through because God's trying to use you. I think you know the difference.
Yeah.
And there are other times where you say, no, I'm wearing thin right now and I love you, but I can't do that. I think we see it most often, even in our church, in serving in kids.
Yeah.
Kids are a lot. Kids are challenging. It requires,
especially a lot of kid workers are also moms.
Yeah. So you've been parenting all week.
Yeah.
And then you show up on Sunday. And so we have a lot of parents who because they love kids and they love the church and they love Jesus, they sign up to serving kids. And our church does a really good job of balancing it. I really do think that they do a really good job of balancing it out. We were in kids rotation for a little while. And part of that is because we just have so many people who want to serve. That helps.
Yeah.
But what happens is we get these people in positions and then we say, oh, you want to serve in kids? I'm just going to put you on Sunday. Like you're in kids unless you say you don't want to be.
Yeah.
And then we feel guilty and we feel pressure and we feel all this stuff. And what happens is in 6 months, they're at a different church completely or they're not going to church at all anymore.
Burnt out.
Because they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, they've been momming all week. They've been dadding all week. And then like we have one lady in our church, I won't say her name, but she works in the elementary school system.
Yeah.
She loves kids more than probably any of us.
Yeah.
And she says, I love you guys, but I
do this for a living. Yeah.
I do this for a living. I need a day where I'm doing something other than running around with elementary school kids. And that she I think she's on the worship team.
Yeah.
She doesn't love the Lord any less than the rest of us.
Yeah.
She just has that bound where she says, hey, I need this for me. We see a lot of single moms or single dads, just single parents say, hey, I've been with this kid. I need an hour, and they usually serve on other teams. Like that's fine. But I think it's healthy to say, hey, and I think the challenge though, is that's not to the pastor to change the requirements for service. That challenge is for you. If you can't meet the requirements that they're asking, know that well enough and be humble enough and disciplined enough to say no. If the expectation of the team is, hey, if you want to serve on this team, like worship team, if you want to serve on the worship team, we got to be here 7 a.m. for warm-ups. It is not your job to convince them to get rid of warm-ups. If you don't want to get there at 7 and stay for all 3 services or whatever, don't be on the worship team. So there's some give and take there too, right? This isn't, go to your pastor right now and tell him to change the layout.
Yeah.
This is the layout. Know yourself well enough to just say no.
Yeah.
And know that saying no doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means, hey, I can't do this right now. We used to have this tradition in our house. I don't know if you remember this or not, for the longest time. It was pancake Sundays. I got up every Sunday and I made us pancakes. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And we were having a great time with it. And then I got promoted and got put on payroll. And we added a 3rd service. The next thing you know, I had to beat the church at, I don't even remember what time. It was super early. And what went away? Pancake Sundays.
You're right.
Well, you didn't want to stay for 3 services. Let's be honest. Nobody want to stay for 3 services.
Yeah.
I don't even know if the pastor wants to do 3 services. So you would go home, after the 2nd service, whatever service you came to, you would usually go home. And then it was like, well, now we're not going to lunch after because by the time I get off, you're already changed into your comfy clothes or whatever. And so it was like, we didn't set those boundaries in our life. Now I was on payroll, which is kind of what I said earlier. This is the expectation of the job. But all that being said, sometimes it's okay to say, hey, if that's what you need, I can't do that for you.
Yeah.
We're even in that season right now with baby Eli. I can't get to the church 2 hours early.
Yeah.
My kids, and do what with my kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyone knows, our church lets out around 11:30, 11:45. We are on a time crunch to get to those naps.
Yeah.
We got to get lunch and naps quick style.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can just limit you, which leads to my next point. Sorry, pastor, I can't serve every Sunday, which is very similar to the kind of thing before, but a little different in that if the expectation's too high that you can't do it all the time, but you want to do it some of the time, that's cool. Hey, I can only serve in kids this many days, these many Sundays a month. I would worship whatever your thing is. It's okay to go to church sometimes and just rest.
Yeah.
It's okay
just
to
receive. Yeah.
To just be poured into. That's the whole point, is to come sometimes and be refilled and recharged. To being in a loving community without constantly being pulled in every direction. It's important that inside of the church, we love, serve, and pour into one another. But everybody, including you, pastor, Everyone has times where they just need to receive, and that is okay. When you reach a point where you dread going to church every weekend, that's how you know it might be time to slow down
Yeah.
and reevaluate a little bit, including, please hear me, including you, senior pastor.
Mm-hmm.
I know so many senior pastors that if we really sat down and talked to them and like thoroughly flushed out their heart, they don't love their church like they lead on Sunday mornings.
Mm-hmm.
They're dreading it the whole drive there. They're counting down the minutes so they can go home. They get home and they don't talk to their families about it. Their wives hate the church. Their kids hate the church because it's unhealthy the way they've approached it. Set margins, set boundaries.
I think
it's okay.
Yeah, and I think setting those way in advance is how you don't reach that point.
I agree.
Of like if you're starting to get burned out and just take one Sunday off and you're like, okay, I'm rested and I actually miss it. Now that's how you get to where you just don't go to church for 3 years.
Yeah. When I see a lot of leaders, even senior pastors, will do like a 2 or 3 week break in the summer where they go on vacation and you'll see, we have a guest speaker 2 weeks in a row. And it's like, your pastor's recharging, and that is okay. The same is true for you.
Yeah.
We hear pastor sabbaticals all the time. When was the last time you had a kids ministry sabbatical? You know what I mean? A worship team sabbatical, like whatever. There's a guy who serves on our team at our church now. There's a team that I get to lead at our church that I'm super honored to be a part of. And there's a gentleman that just recently joined our team. And I was texting him, getting to know him, recruiting and that kind of thing. And I say recruiting. He came up to me and asked to be on the team. And I said, yeah, man, we'd love to have you. We have openings all the time. Like, we'd love to fold you in. And he said, hey, real quick, before you start sending me those Planet Center requests, I need you to know I can only do every other Sunday. Last church I was at, I served a ton. My kids are a little older now. They're like in their teenage years. One of them's a teenager. And I want to sit with my kids at least half of the church services we do. I want to sit with my wife half the church services we do. So I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you this, on the Sundays he's serving, he's on it. He is there. Whatever time we ask him to be there, he is there. He is the last one out the door. He is loving. He is kind. He is generous. He is sacrificial. He's all those things. The next Sunday, my boy rolls in with his wife and kids when he wants to, talks to who he wants to, sits where he wants to, leaves when he wants to. And I don't have fear of him getting mad at me or getting mad at our church or getting mad at the culture. And in a year or two being like, all they did was use me and never said thank you and blah, 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 like all this stuff. I don't have any fear of that because I feel confident that he's going to sit, like he's set those boundaries in place.
Yeah.
So sorry, I can't come in early and stay late every weekend. Sorry, I can't serve every weekend. The third one. Sorry, pastor, I can't greet every visitor and know every single person's name in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's some pastors who already disagree with me on this, and that's fine. That's cool. That's why you pastor your church and I go to the church I go to.
I also think it depends on the size of church,
too. Yeah. The church is meant to be a community, which requires both welcoming new people and loving your current people. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough thing to balance out. Of knowing where's the line between all I do is greet people and welcome new faces all the time, and all I do is talk to the same people I always know. And I know a lot of pastors typically lean on the visitor side, and that's fine. That's kind of their job, is to keep us from getting complacent. I respect that. But I do know some pastors that get so hyper-focused on the new that there's no deep community beyond always high-fiving each other, but no one's talking for more than 30 seconds because we're all trying to always remember all the different things. And it's like, at some point, no, sit down for 5 minutes, let someone else greet, and we'll talk about that in a second, but like, let someone else handle that and let me truly get to know. Because what's going to happen when I need a friend, I'm in an emergency, I'm in a bind, whatever, and I have a whole list of names and no relationships. Everyone agrees that a visitor needs to be welcome and loved. But when we place greeting visitors above loving people who are already there, we create a culture of new and not growing. Yeah. And I think every pastor wants a growing church. But if your culture has no depth and has no community and has no relationship, the new face in 6 weeks, 6 months will no longer be the new face. And when there's nothing beyond being a visitor, then they fall off. Yeah. And when they go find the church that has the community. Yeah. And I think some cultures that's healthy because they're really good at evangelism and getting people in the door. And I think that's great. And there are people who are gifted for that. But if you're trying to grow a church community, you have to learn how to balance the act. And so for pastors, You got to learn how to navigate that in your own culture. But as church members, we have to say, hey, I haven't talked to a visitor in a couple weeks. I should really get out of my comfort zone and go talk to someone.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a lady who goes to our church. I won't say her name, but she came up to me a couple of Sundays ago. I was working the front door, and she asked me someone's name, and I said, I'll be honest with you, I don't know that person's name. Mm-hmm. And she said, I feel really bad. This will be the 4th Sunday in a row I've gone over and introduced myself, and I cannot remember their name. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, love you. Mm-hmm. Do you talk to them for more than 20 seconds, 30 seconds? And she said, well, no, because there's so many new visitors. And one of the great things about our church is we have so many visitors right now. It's just like every Sunday, multiple new families are coming through the door. And she said, there's just so many visitors, and I'm trying to get to know everyone. And I said, yeah, in your effort to get to know everyone, you're actually getting to know no one.
Yeah.
And I think, I could be wrong, this is just Eric's opinion here. I think the only thing potentially worse than not greeting a visitor is greeting the same visitor 4 Sundays in a row. Because to not greet me, I can justify that in my head if you got busy or maybe I dressed funny or like whatever. But to meet me 4 times and not remember me tells me one of two things. I'm not rememberable or you're too busy and arrogant to remember me.
Yeah.
Both make me want to leave.
Yeah.
So I think there's a balance between like if you're and so that's why I say, hey, pastor, I love you. I can't know everyone's name.
Yeah.
And I think well, I won't get into the numbers piece of that because that's every church is different. But I can't bear the burden. I think that's a culture thing. Mm-hmm. If everyone's got the mindset of not greeting but getting to know, because I think there's a difference. When we get past that, I want to greet visitors and I actually want to get to know visitors, then you'll see, hey, 5 new families came in, but these 5 families have been here for a year. Each one grabbed one and loved on them. Yeah. Not all 5 of my families high-fived all 5 of their families and ain't nobody know nobody's name. And that's how we get in a church where we go, yeah, I don't know that person.
I think we're so fearful of being cliquish that we end up doing more damage of...
That's good.
Of like everybody's introducing each other. And it's not that cliques are okay, but I think in churches as they grow, small communities are okay. Yes. Now I think what makes that not a clique is you're always willing to accept anyone at any time. And that's how you don't become a clique. But I think smaller communities within a church are perfectly normal.
I think they're healthy.
And healthy.
Yeah, because our church has, what'd you say, if everyone showed up, probably 200, 300 people, give or take. I don't think it's healthy if I know all 300 people, but don't know anything beyond their name and occupation.
Right.
But I've got like 7 or 8 families that I could call to pick up my kid or drive me to the hospital or buy me groceries or like whatever. And that comes through years of hanging out. And one thing, and then we'll move on. I hear a lot of pastors say, well, that's what during the week is for. On Sundays, we need to be focused on our visitors. And I agree with you. There is merit to that. But there are some relationships we can all admit, if we're honest about our calendars, we can all admit that there are some relationships that are purely Sunday oriented. A really close friend of mine, I love this dude to death. I won't say his name, but I love this dude to death, him and his family. We got 2 kids under 3, and they got, I think, 3 kids under 5.
Yeah.
The reality of us trying to set up a Tuesday coffee ain't going to jive.
Yeah.
So if our paths only cross on Sundays, and that's just a practical reality, then there will be some Sundays when I'm going through something or he's going through something or you or his wife or whatever, our kids. And that's the time we cross paths.
Yeah.
Sorry, pastor. Sometimes a visitor might not go ungreeted. They just might go ungreeted by me because right now what I need in order to feel a part of this greater community is this thing.
Yeah.
Is this relationship.
And I think you would have given up a lot of beautiful conversations if you hadn't just allowed those moments that were growing over new.
Yeah. And I would say to the church member listening to this, don't put that weight on your shoulders because it's not fair.
Yeah.
Your pastor's not even bearing that weight if we're being honest because they're prepping for their message. They're making sure all the teams are operating. So it's okay some Sundays to go, someone else going to have to greet these visitors because I need to sit with my friends for a minute. Yeah. And that is okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't come early and stay late. Sorry, I can't serve every weekend. Sorry, I can't know everyone's name all the time. Another one. Sorry, I can't come to every event we do.
Yeah.
This is kind of similar to sorry, I can't serve every Sunday. It is healthy to say no and have boundaries outside of Sunday morning. Because again, our love for Jesus and even our love for our church it just practically cannot always correlate to our calendar and our schedules. It just doesn't work. I have seen so many families try and force attendance to an event and it goes horrible. Here's a few examples for you. So you're like, what is he talking about? I don't really understand. Here's a few examples for you. if it is past your kid's bedtime,
stay home.
And you know your kids, stay home.
We know this one personally because our kids thrive in routine.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, on the dot, they are ready to go to bed.
Yeah, so if you bedtime in our house,
7:00. So if you ever ask us to do anything that we're even getting home later than 7:00,
we just learned.
Yeah.
My kids are not terrible.
Worth it. I'm not going to get anything out of it. Yep. You guys are going to be miserable while
Do you remember we did, was it Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve? We did a 6 p.m. worship service. And I told our pastor, I said, hey, man, my kids go to bed at 7. Now I'm going to step out in faith. I'm going to believe you. We're going to do it. But those poor kids ministry workers, especially the pre-K and the baby room.
Yeah.
Eli, you were still pregnant with Eli, so that was fine. But Joe, I went to pick her up, and she was
mad.
Pissed. She was ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
If it's too close to getting off work and you got to rush and get stressed, you don't know if you're going like it's okay to be late. That's I'm not saying that, but if it's causing you anxiety all day, like, man, we do Wednesday night service, but it starts at 6, and I don't get off till 5:30, and it's a 45-minute drive. But maybe if I speed or I cut out of work early or whatever, and it's like, hey, sometimes it's okay. If you want to go because you need to be there, that's fine. But if you want to go because you feel pressure or guilt for not going, slow down.
Yeah.
And the last one, if it's conflicting with a prearranged commitment that would hurt the other person vis-a-vis your spouse or your children, say no.
Yeah.
Especially as parents, we know this. Planning a date is hard sometimes.
And sometimes those dates look like you just promised that we were going to watch a movie tonight.
Yes.
And I think it is truly okay to miss out on an event to watch a movie with your spouse.
Yes. 1,000%. If you have made a commitment, honor your commitments.
Yeah.
Now, the same can be true. Yes, there are exceptions. Like that's why you navigate your life, and I don't live your life. I'm too busy living mine. Yeah. And I'm not saying you're doing it wrong. I'm just trying to relieve people of the pressure of, I had scheduled this thing with my kids. I had scheduled this thing with my wife or my husband or my friends, my parents, whatever it is. And then I get a last minute text that's like, hey, we're doing kids event this weekend, and 2 of my volunteers called out. Can you pull through for me? And it's like, sure, hang on 1 second. Hey, honey, cancel the babysitter. I got to go to the church. Like, whatever, they need me. And it's like, bro, come on, man.
Yeah.
Be with your family. Honor your commitments.
Yeah.
So there are times where you can say, hey, I love you. I can't be there for you. And I love you to death. That doesn't mean I don't love you. I just can't.
Yeah.
It's okay to not be at every event your church always does, because our love for our church does not equate to our love for Jesus, and certainly our availability to our church does not equate to our love for Jesus.
Yeah.
I love my friends a ton, but I'm not on speed dial for them to just come rob me of my time whenever they feel like it.
Yeah.
My church is not the same. My church falls in that same category. And then the last one. Sorry, pastor, that the church is not as high on my priority list as it is on yours.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I'm not mad that it's high on yours. Just don't get mad that it's not as high as mine as it is on yours. As pastors, and I've heard them audibly say this, the church can sometimes feel like a baby to them, like a child to them, like a piece of their family, because they do. They pour. No one loves your church more than your pastor. I promise you.
Yeah.
No one cares about your church more. No one prays for your church more. No one serves your church more than your pastor and his family.
Yeah.
Or her family, whatever it looks like for you. But no one loves my kids as much as I love my kids. And I don't expect them to.
Yeah.
That's why I don't let anybody watch them, because you don't love them like I love them. You don't care about them like I care about them. And that's okay.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of weird if you did or tried to convince me you did. If someone tried to convince me they love my daughter as much as I love my daughter, I would be a little like,
get away from my daughter.
One, you don't, but 2, what the heck? And that's okay. So, pastor, I'm glad that you love the church. Just don't expect me to love the church like you love the church.
Yeah.
Your church. Not the church, but your church.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, we're not all full-time employees paid to care about this thing. And some of y'all pastors aren't, and that's cool too. I get it. But most are, or I would say a good portion are. And so when you have a family or a guy or whoever leading the church, and they're paid, even if it's a cheap, low-end salary, like this is their thing.
Yeah.
Like you get up in the morning and you're thinking about getting the kids to school, to daycare, to whatever, so you can get to work or you can start. They're doing that with the church. And unfortunately, they do it 7 days a week. They don't ever really get a day off. And so like it can become all-consuming.
Yeah.
And so, pastor, I love you, but I'm sorry that it's not as big a deal to me.
Yeah, I think
as
that
it is to you.
This expectation for us to volunteer at the church and our like our desire to volunteer at the church too makes that heavier of like the expectation that the pastor has for volunteers is like, well, you should just want to be here. I thought you wanted to be here as much as I wanted to be here. And you feel guilty when you don't want to be there all the time because you do love to volunteer, just maybe not that much.
Yeah. Well, and pastors, I hear pastors say this a lot, and I think it means well, and I think it's true to an extent. They say, I love Jesus, so that's why I became a pastor. And that's cool. Yeah. Like, I'm super happy for you. But I love Jesus and decided not to become a full-time pastor. Do I love Jesus less than you because I serve less than you?
Yeah.
No, that would be a ridiculous thing to accuse somebody of. Yeah. But we can easily, even if it's unintentional, manipulate and pull on those heartstrings and say, well, I gave up time with my kids on Friday night to come to this thing, or Wednesday nights to come to this thing. I go to bed so early Saturday and get up so early on Sunday and stay so late on Sunday because I love the church. And I believe you, and I'm glad that you do. But you cannot expect me to have that same devotion that you do, because it's not my thing, it's your thing.
Yeah.
I don't expect you to have that kind of devotion towards my family.
Yeah. God didn't call me to build your church. Yeah. He called you to do it.
Yeah, that's why you're doing it. And like I will hold your arms up and support you.
Yeah.
But I can't, like, it's unreasonable.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I'll say about this, I think this is part of why, all of those reasons are part of why church hurts so deep.
Yeah.
Because we do those things. We idolize serving. We idolize attendance. We idolize availability. And then the moment it backstabs us or it hurts us, or the new visitor gets talked to more than I do, and I go, well, hold up, I canceled dates. I skipped my kids' stuff. I rescheduled my vacations. I got up early and missed breakfast. I stayed late and skipped lunches. I was on the phone praying with people and said, and they're going to become the new worship leader, not me. And I've been here longer. They're going to get this and not me. And what happens is you put all your eggs in one basket that unfortunately is still held by human hands.
Yeah, that's really good.
We paint it in this Jesus light because it is the bride of Christ, but it's held in human hands. And your pastor is a human, whether they're a nice one or a mean one, they're still one. And humans sometimes make mistakes just like you do, just like I do. And so what I've learned is I can put a few of my eggs in the church basket. A good portion of them, because I love the church. I love serving. It's one of all my friends just about come from my church. I love what I get to do. I get to lead one of the teams, and I love it. I'm honored by that. I love being there on Sunday mornings. But I have learned the hard way. I do not put all my eggs in that basket, because eventually, even though me and my pastor, I consider my closest friend in the world outside of my wife, there will be times where he might let me down. And he might call another guy before he calls me and invites him on a trip. And does that hurt sometimes? Sure. But also, like, I didn't put all my eggs in that basket. Yeah. You can't hurt. I won't let you hurt me like that anymore.
Yeah.
Because I've learned you're just as human as I am.
Yeah.
So those are the things. Pastor, I'm sorry. I can't come early and stay late every weekend. I can't serve every weekend. I won't know everyone's name all the time.
I won't come to every event.
I won't come to every event. And I won't care about this as much as you do sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's all of that is okay. Pastors, I'm sorry. That was the rough part for you. This part's the easier part for you, because this is from a church member. I will not dare speak on behalf of all church people, just like I wouldn't speak on behalf of all pastors. But I will speak on what I've learned, and all of these I have done, and all of these to the pastors that I've served under or been around. This is to all of you. Yeah, all of you, I think. I have to think about everyone I've served under and if I'm still mad at them or not. But yeah, no, I would say this is to all of you. But if you're listening to this and one of these applies to you, you need to really consider having a conversation with your leader about it. Not because they're right and you're wrong or anything like that, but because it's what God wants for you. So the first one, to my pastor, sorry I never serve. We were built and designed by God Almighty to love and to serve one another sacrificially, even when it's inconvenient. Sometimes we are called and created to serve. You should serve your church in some capacity. You should not show up every week and just consume and just receive and then leave. That is not community. That is just consuming. Church is meant to be a community. Everyone's got gifts. My pastor can preach. He can't sing.
Yeah.
My worship leader can sing. He can't preach.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got guys on our team that can guard doors and keep people safe. but I don't know if they can pray for people very well. You know what I mean? Like, we've all got our strengths. And so that's why we come together.
Yeah.
And we say, hey, I'm not really good at that, but you're really good at that.
Yeah.
But if you're really good at that and you never do it, our church is just missing something because you never do it. It's not only limiting to our community, but it's limiting to you as well.
Yeah.
There is a joy that comes from serving.
Yeah.
And to people who set boundaries and do it in a healthy way, they know that firsthand. There is joy. Dude, when we were on kids rotation and we were only doing it once a month, that Sunday was so much fun. I came in so energized, so excited to get on the floor and play with the toys and do the lessons and the crafts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I loved that. When I was doing it 3 out of 4 Sundays a month, I hated it.
Yeah.
But it's because we were created to serve, but we were created to do it in a way that's healthy. And so, Pastor, I'm sorry I never serve.
Yeah, I think some form of sacrifice always brings you some form of joy. I think that's why like people like to go to the gym, you know, like sacrificing your time, doing things that make you uncomfortable. Like there's always a growth that comes from that you get some type of joy in at the end of. And I think church is no different.
No, absolutely. So if you're not serving, I was hard on the pastor, so I'll be hard on you. If you're not serving, serve. Because what happens when you don't serve and you just show up and all you do is consume, you become lazy, you become entitled, and then you become ineffective. You show up and you go, you're here to serve me, make me feel good with your message. Worship better be on point so that I feel an emotion when we hit that third song and we hit that bridge. I want to cry here in worship. Your message better give me that left hook at the end I never saw coming. The greeters better be nice. The coffee better be hot. My seat better be clean. The room better be cool. The lights need to be off but not too dark. Kids ministry needs to be excited. My kid better come out laughing and full of joy and all that. Like what are you doing? What part in all of that do you play? And if you don't play any of it, you do not get the right to complain about it. You're not a part of the community.
Yeah.
You're a part of the consumerism of it. And church is not a consumerism. This is not Walmart.
Yeah.
You don't get to just show up and grab what you want and then leave.
Yeah.
That's not what this is. This is a community. And if you're going to show up and not contribute, you don't get a say. You don't get a say in any of it.
Yeah.
You're just a spectator.
Yeah.
You know, when I love college football, right? You know why they don't let me on the sidelines to talk to the players? Because I don't serve on the team.
Yeah.
I ain't on the team. I ain't at practice. I ain't in the film room. I'm not in the recruiting room. I'm not in any of it. So they don't let me come down there on the sideline at halftime and say, y'all need to be doing this and this and this and this. I put it in their Facebook comment section. I'm a Facebook coach. I'm an Instagram coach. Sometimes I send DMs to the offensive coordinator. I don't know, maybe. But there's a reason they don't let me in the locker room because I didn't put into this like they did. They're the ones who get to do it. But we do this with church where we go, well, they did. I can't believe they did that. They did that song in this culture in this time. I can't believe he didn't mention this person's name or he did mention this person's name or whatever. And it's like, hold up. What do you do?
Yeah.
That's not their problem. It's your problem. And if you don't serve, please listen to me. If you do not serve, do not complain.
Yeah.
You don't get to be a part of it.
I would just say on the more gracious side of that, just try it and truly see. Give it a shot. And if you absolutely hate it, which I almost guarantee that you won't, if like you said, you do it in that healthy way, then I think you'll have like this whole new like eyes on it, new heart for it.
That's a much nicer way to word it. You're absolutely right.
I think the same thing happens with tithing too.
Well, I was going to say my next point is, sorry, I never give.
Yeah.
You should give financially to your church in some capacity. And I don't even feel like that's a controversial thing. If it is, then that's dumb because it's not controversial. Not only do I believe that Scripture points to giving, there's debate on whether or not it points to tithing specifically in the New Testament. I won't even get into that argument. But Paul very clearly talks in Corinthians about being generous. And he talks in Philippians about because of their financial generosity, they're tied to the blessings of the ministry. So there's all sorts of examples of the New Testament about purely, and I'm not talking about you should give of your time or give. Yes, you should. I'm talking specifically about giving financially.
Yeah.
You should give financially in some capacity to your church. Now, everything looks different for everybody. I don't believe there's a minimum. I don't believe there's a Paul talks in Corinthians actually about a maximum. He says, don't give to the extent that you become poor and unable to house your family and feed your family and all those things in 1 Corinthians. So there is like a threshold here of like, don't give to be stupid. He says, don't give out of compulsion. Don't give out of emotion because that's when you give dumb amounts that you can't don't give the church your grocery money.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
But
unless you were called to, I guess.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Be obedient to the Holy Spirit. But what I'm saying is people go, well, I'm too broke to give. And I think what they're saying is, I don't have any money to give, and I'm scared to take that risk or take that step. And I would just say, one, you should. I think you'll see the blessings on the other side of it. But two, you were like, it's part of the community I was talking about earlier. And so to my pastor, hey, I'm sorry, I never give.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've never given a penny to this church, and I've been coming here for years.
Right.
I've known you personally for years. You have taken me to dinner, and I've never given to this ministry. You have prayed for my kids, and I've never given to this ministry. My kids come here every Sunday, eat the snacks, use the paper, use the crayons, play with the toys, break the toys.
Yeah.
Whatever. I serve on the team. I use this electricity. I flush that toilet. I hold that microphone. I do whatever, and I've never given a dime.
Yeah.
And hey, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I did that to you and to our community.
Yeah.
To our community. Because when we have that communal mindset that we're all a part of this thing, then you feel the weight of that.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to, like we said, with serving. I almost think it's easier to give of our time than it is to give our money away. I think we hold more tightly onto our money than we do our time. And I would say, just like with serving, that there is joy and peace and freedom that comes on the other side of that sacrifice.
Yeah.
And obviously provision, God talks about if you are generous and you do give, that he's going to provide, he's going to take care of you, which we've seen in our lives. On paper, like, we make nothing and we've never missed a tithe check, or
our tithe check has gone down drastically.
But you understand what I'm talking about.
I get it. No, for sure. Because it's been a priority in our lives. I see this a lot right now. In our church, especially because we're saving money for a building right now. One of the fun things about our church is we only have one bathroom, one toilet, one family bathroom. There is always a line, and there's always someone who gets there early and drops a hot one and just ruins it for the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? And we got one bathroom and 200 people. You know, and we're in Tennessee, so we got some of our people are. Never mind, that's not you didn't know there. But we only have one bathroom, so we're raising money for a building.
Yeah.
We have one service, and I think last weekend we had some people come sit with me in the lobby because we ran out of chairs.
Yeah.
Our kids' area is air conditioned by plug-in air conditioners because we got to put them where we can fit them. You know, those kinds of things.
The people that are loudest about complaining about those things are normally the ones that don't give.
And that's what I was going to say is the number of people, and I don't know, I don't see the giving log. But I do see the the running total of the fundraising bucket for the building fund. Our pastor every month gives the church an update. The number of people in that room and the lack of, now I don't want to say lack like we're ungrateful, but the number in the building bucket to the number of people who complain about there only being one bathroom is not correlating. And so what I would say to you is a community that costs you nothing is worth nothing and means nothing to you.
Yeah.
You don't give. You don't serve that community. You are purely a leech and a consumer. And that is not a permanent, like, I'm labeling you that. That's just your actions.
Yeah.
And I would say, like you said, in a much more gracious way, I would challenge you to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Serve your church and give to your church. It can be literally the bare minimum. It's the heart behind it to say, no, I'm bought into what we're doing here. Now, if you're visiting and you're just visiting a church or whatever, trying to find a church home, there's obviously a season of waiting for that. But if you're staking your flag and saying, no, this is my church, I want to be a part of this community. I want to be here. And you don't ever serve and you don't ever give.
Yeah.
You're not a part of the community. You're a spectator in a community. Yeah. And if I can be just totally honest with you, you're hurting the community.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they have to serve you and be around you and absorb your complaints about there only being one bathroom, absorb your complaints about the heat going out or the air going out. And I hear this a lot. I wish we did more outreaches.
Yeah.
I wish we did more in the community.
Yeah.
You know, I wish our soundboard's kind of old and our speakers sound a little blown out and our online could be better if we had a better camera. And I wonder if we could get like an intern to do like the social media stuff so we could be more present on. I think my friends would come if we were bigger on Instagram and all these different things. And it's like, how do we do that?
Yeah.
How do we do more outreach in the community?
Yeah.
With what money?
Yeah.
And I can tell you firsthand from our church, ain't nobody at our church stacking checks behind the scenes. Yeah. It ain't that kind of culture. It's just and I'm not bashing our church. It's the only church I'm a part of, right? It's the
Yeah.
only thing I can
Well,
I
and
can
we've seen it
base it
at
off of.
multiple churches.
Yeah, we've seen it, and when we travel, we visit other pastors and stuff and get to know them. They're all saying the same thing. Everybody wants more outreach. Not everybody wants to give more.
Yeah.
Buildings cost money.
Yeah.
Lights cost money. Getting your pastor there costs money.
Yeah.
I've been to churches where no one collects a dime, and it's not that the ministry's bad. It's that you can tell that this is what everyone does when they've got the spare time versus having a devoted network of people who say, like, let's plan an actual effective outreach where we can do effective ministry. Let's house the homeless. You know how much it costs to house the homeless?
Well, and I would even say, like, what made you fall in love with this space? What brought you here?
Yeah.
It's all these things that cost something to someone. You're now in this building because someone paid for that building. You heard his message because someone paid him to preach that message. And so, like, it can't run. I mean, we know the world we live in, which is only getting more expensive. Like, it costs money to do anything, much less ministry well.
Yeah. So serve and give. And if you don't, just say, hey, you know what? My bad. I'm sorry. I wasn't serving. I'm going to sign up one Sunday a month. Hey, I'm sorry I wasn't giving. I'm going to start giving a little bit every Sunday just to be a part of this thing. And you'll see, like you said, I think you'll see that margin increase where you go, oh no, I think I could give a little bit more. Like God bless me in this area. So sorry I can't serve. Sorry I can't give. This next one's a good one. Pastor, I'm sorry I didn't apply your teaching or your advice. I'll say this. When we were debating leaving our last church, I was talking to a good friend of mine, and he said, well, let me ask you, do you believe without any doubt in your heart that your pastor hears from the Holy Spirit and is obedient to what he says? And I of course, I had to sit there and think about the answer first. I didn't give like an immediate response. And he said, think about it. And if your answer isn't yes, then you need to leave.
Mm-hmm.
But if your answer is yes, then you need to listen.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot stay and not listen.
Mm-hmm.
And we see a lot of people come to church and not apply the advice or the teachings. And again, you have to be at a church where you believe your pastor hears from the Lord and does what the Lord tells him to do, teaches the Bible soundly, and all of those things. Like, those are non-negotiables. If you don't believe your pastor does that, then why are you even going? What are you doing? Are you just hanging out, trying to meet chicks, or like get to know people, or enjoy the coffee? The worship's good, but the teaching sucks, or like whatever. Like, buy a worship album, get a Spotify membership. I don't know what to tell you, but be a part of a church where you believe your pastor hears from the Holy Spirit and does what he says. But when you're there, apply the teaching, apply the advice. And I talk with our friends and our people in ministry, and there's just such a not even a frustration, but a broken heart when people call and they're like, hey, I'm going through this, hey, I'm going through that. And it's like, well, did you do any? And then they say, like, hey, can we meet up for coffee? I'm going through this and this and this. And it's like, okay, let's meet up for coffee. They tell me what they're going through, and we say, all right, hey, I'm going to pray for you, but this is what I believe practically would help you. And in 6 months, they're dealing with the same problems. And you say, well, how'd the thing go that we talked about? Oh, I ended up deciding to do a different thing, and it just felt more right in the time, whatever. And you do that long enough, and then you wonder why people don't call you, or why, like, it feels. And then what they do is they go, this place isn't really working out for me. I'm not finding the community. I'm not seeing the breakthrough. I'm not being fed, whatever the thing is. And it's like, no, you're being fed. You're just not eating.
Yeah. Well, I think we've seen it personally, because I wouldn't say we're pastors, but I do feel like there's some people that even through the podcast have reached out to us about how did you get through it. I think specifically, what we're known for is like how to get through like porn in your marriage and everything, or even outside of marriage. But that seems to be the one that we get frustrated with the most, because we're like, this is what works. Like, I truly believe if you take these steps, that this is what's going to help you and your relationship. And almost always that person goes, that won't work for me. I can't do that. And it's like, no, you can do that. You just don't want to do that. And in 6 months from now, we're going to be having the same conversation. And it, like you said, it breaks your heart, and it just frustrates you. And I think we battle with this, and I would imagine pastors battle with this, is you want to give up on people. You want to be like, if you're not going to apply it, I don't know what else to do for
Quit
you.
asking.
Yeah. And you don't want to be around that person
Yeah.
as much or
Yeah.
hear from them as much because you're just like, this is going nowhere.
You're wasting my time. It's going to go in one ear and out the other. You're not going to do what I say. And so I would say, if you believe you're in a place where your pastor or your leader does hear from the Lord and is obedient to what God tells them, then when they give you advice or when you ask for advice or you hear teachings through a sermon or whatever, through a podcast, first thing you should do is run it through the word, run it through prayer, ask the Holy Spirit for clarification, all those kinds of things. But if it's true, give it a shot. Apply it. Now, they're human. We're human. Some of the advice we give might be horrible advice and it won't work for you. It just is what it is. But you got to try something. And I think you hit the nail right on the head. If you're not going to do it, then don't come back again later and be like, now, if you come back again and say, hey, what was that thing you said? I'm actually going to try it this time. But you're going to call me in 6 months and my advice is going to be the same. You need to do this and this and this because this is what I believe works. And I wrote this down. I see so many people going out. This is like legitimate. I see this on a regular basis. Going out, getting drunk, sleeping around, not reading their Bibles, not praying, not worshiping, not doing anything their Bible or their pastor has said to do. Then when their life gets messy, they talk about joining a new church and getting their life back together again. I'm going to walk in, find a new church. This church just really ain't working for me. Blah, 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 blah. That's like I said, that's like your oil light coming on. You keep driving until it breaks down and then blame the last guy who changed your oil. You didn't do the things that you were advised to do, and then you blame the advice giver for bad advice. Bro, you didn't even do what I said. Hey, man, I'm struggling with watching pornography. All right, you need to find an accountability partner. You need to get off the internet as much as possible. You need to get off social media until you feel like your heart's in a pure place. You need to talk to your spouse if you're married. Talk to your boyfriend. Talk to your girlfriend. Talk to your pastor. Talk to your ministry leader. You need to tell somebody so they can make you feel awkward and embarrassed about it to the point where you don't want to do it anymore. And tell your partner, someone who lives with you, who is around you the most, who can check in on you regularly. You need to tell them, you need to get offline, and you need to purify your mind and your heart. Oh, man. I don't know. That stuff just really doesn't really work for me that much. I could get off Twitter or X, whatever it's called. But I need Instagram for I stay in touch with my cousins that way. And it's like, okay.
What I hear the most is it's for work.
Yeah. Things like that, and it's like, okay, hey, when you hate it enough that you're willing to cut it out, like Jesus says, then we can talk. And until then, that's going to be my advice. And when you slip and you watch pornography again and you call me back, I'm going to say the same thing again.
Yeah. God's not going to not bless you because you decided to take away something for your betterment.
Yeah. If being on social media causes you to look at pornography, cut the social media and watch God still use you. Watch God still bless you, even without Instagram. Anyway, if you're not going to do what they say anyway, then don't ask them.
And I would say a caveat to not a caveat, but an add-on to that is don't get mad that you're not a part of the community when you never put yourself in a position to be a part of the community. I think a lot of people leave the church because they didn't feel like they fit in or people didn't love and serve them well when you never stepped out either. I think initially you can be like maybe apprehensive about it if no one asked your name or said hi when you first got there. But if you've been going for 2 or 3 weeks and people have said hi and you've gotten to know 2 or 3 people, but you're not feeling connected because you don't ever put yourself in a position to be connected, then you can't be mad either at the church as a whole. Like the pastor didn't fail you because you didn't get connected.
Get out of your comfort zone. No, I agree. But if you have been listening, or if you haven't been listening to their advice, but you think you're in the right community, just say, hey, my bad. Give me that piece of advice one more time. I'm actually going to go do it this time. I'm actually going to, when you tell me on Sundays to read my Bible and your message, I'm actually going to read my Bible throughout the week. I'm actually going to pray throughout the week. I'm actually going to do worship throughout the week. I'm going to do those things and actually see if it pans out in my life. The last two really fast, because I'm almost at my time. This one is the one I think broke my heart the most when I wrote this, because this is, if there's ever been one I'm guilty of, that really hurts me too. To my pastor, I'm sorry I talked about you behind your back and I wasn't a good friend. I'm sorry I got mad at you about something petty and started talking about you behind your back. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're human. Sometimes I get mad and I get petty too, and I feel disrespected, or I feel whatever. We've all done it.
Yeah.
Pastors have done it too. Pastors, it's okay to go to a congregant and say, hey, you really pissed me off last weekend, and I might have said some stuff, and hey, my bad. I'm sorry. We do this thing with spiritual leadership where we think they have to be perfect and we can act however we want. And then when they slip up, it gives us the space to talk about them however we want. Like, God doesn't view all of us the exact same anyways.
Right. Yeah.
When your leader messes up or you think they've messed up, be a good friend and just go talk to them.
Yeah.
Jesus taught us this in Matthew 18, verses 15 through 17. If another believer, pastor or not,
you're preaching,
sins against you, go privately and point out the offense. If the other person listens and confesses, you have won that person back. But if it's unsuccessful, take one or two others and go back again so that everything you say may be confirmed by 2 or 3 witnesses. If they still refuse, then take your case to the church. We love to skip to step 3.
Yeah.
Can you believe I walked in this morning? That dude has high-fived me every Sunday since I've been here. And this morning he was too busy talking to that prayer. He didn't even look at me.
Yeah.
He said he would let me serve on the worship team, and now he won't answer my text.
Yeah.
They said this or they said that, and now they're doing this or that. And it's like, did you just go talk to him?
Yeah.
Because Jesus said, if you think someone's harmed you, just go talk to say, hey, bro. And I've done this, and I tell this story all the time, and I've told him to his face. It's the first time I ever actually practically read this verse and went, ooh, I need to do that. I got mad at my pastor, my best friend. I got mad at him. The fair was in town. You already know this story.
Yeah.
The fair was in town, and I love the fair. It's my favorite week of the year. It's almost better than Christmas. I love the fair. And my boy, you know who you are. You know I love the fair. And he hit me up and said, hey, bro, we're going to the fair Friday night. And I was like, all right, bet. Sounds good. Sounds great. Let's do it. The fair starts on Thursdays. No one goes on open at night because open at night's when everyone goes, right? That's the thought. So we'll go Friday night. So I get up Thursday and I'm like, hey, bro, hype for the fair tomorrow. Nothing. Ghosted. I'm like, oh, he's busy. He's a big guy. He's busy, whatever. Friday, I said, hey, what time we hitting the fair tonight? Or Thursday. No, Thursday. I said, what time we hitting the fair tomorrow night? Ghosted. Nothing. Anyway, I got to save time. I text him Friday and I said, hey, bro, what time? I need to know what time we're supposed to be there this afternoon. Nothing. It's like 4 p.m. I call him. Nothing. And I'm like, well, I'm going to the fair either way. You and me are going to the fair. Let's run it. We're at the fair and I'm like calling him and he's not answering. And then you opened your phone and his wife had posted a story and it was like, loved opening night at the fair last night. And so I was like,
the most
I was heartbroken. Yeah. And he wasn't answering me. Yeah. So that was Friday. Saturday he doesn't answer, but he's usually getting ready for Sunday, so that's fine. I walked in on Sunday morning and I walked straight because I was mad. I wasn't even mad. I was hurt.
Yeah.
You went to my favorite place without me.
Yeah.
After you invited me.
Yeah.
And then went without me. And I walked up to him and I said, hey man, we've been friends for years. You know I love you. And he said, yeah, what's going on? And I said, we're going to laugh. You're going to laugh when I tell you this because it does feel kind of silly, but it hurt me that you invited me to the fair and then didn't answer me and went without me.
Yeah.
And he went, you're right, man.
Yeah.
That wasn't cool. And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And he gave me a hug and we moved on from it. But I could have just as easily, my pastor's a liar. He picked another, and he said, hey, a friend of mine came in from out of town and he had never been to the fair and opening night. And he told me opening night is $1 rides for the kids. And he's got an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old. Yeah. And I was like, bro, that makes total sense. You could have texted me, but that makes total sense. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, that's I tell that story all the time of like, I could have been mad at you.
Yeah.
I could have talked about you behind your back to everybody and be like, can you believe he lied? He did this and he put a visitor over a friend he's had for years and blah, blah, blah. Hey man.
Yeah.
That really hurt me.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, you know what? My bad.
Yeah.
So to the pastors out there, my own included sometimes, hey, I'm sorry when I talk about you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we jumped to step 2 of like, take it to the church, right? Take it. And we view that as like, I'm going to go, and it's like the side, venting through other people through like, oh, I'm trying to do the right thing, but I just want to
just need to get this off my chest to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't go talk to him and get mad at him for no reason, Go
get mad at him.
Yeah. I think what they're saying is like, don't just go spill the tea to another Christian.
Yeah.
It is, hey, I need you to go with me to this person because
Yeah.
they weren't listening to me one-on-one. You've
Yeah.
already done step one. Now I need your backup, basically,
Yeah.
to go talk to him. Not, I'm just going to go talk to another church person
Yeah.
about it, but you are now going to come help me
Yeah.
get through to them.
And I think when I use you're spot on, because when I use that story of going to the fair without me, I didn't need him to say sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't say, you need to say sorry for that.
Yeah.
All I said was, hey man, that hurt me. And the moment I told him,
Mm-hmm.
I was still a little mad. I still get a little mad if I think about it for too long. But it wasn't, my goal wasn't an apology. My goal wasn't to be right and you're wrong. It was, I need you to know, if we're going to do this, actually do life together and be involved in this, I need to tell you when something is bothering me. It's not fair to be mad at you and you not know why I'm mad at you.
Yeah.
So I just said, hey bro, that hurt me.
Yeah.
End of it.
Yeah.
I feel relief now that at least you know, even if you didn't say sorry and you explained why and you said, I'm not sorry because this is why I did it. Okay, cool, whatever. Now you know.
Yeah.
And if and next time you come talk to me, if I'm a little bitter, you don't get to be like, oh my God, why is Eric being bitter right now? No. You know why I'm being bitter right now. Because you joke, like, whatever, you know? It's not about being right. It's about just being honest.
Yeah.
And then the last one, I called my pastor, a good friend of mine, and I asked him, what's something that you wished people would say sorry for? And he said, oh man, I don't expect apologies from nobody. This is the nature of the game and it is what it is. I don't hold no grudges. And I believe that's true. But I said, come on, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you. Trying to write a episode for, like, this segment's for you.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't wish people would say sorry, but I wish people would see or try and understand how much it hurts when you leave.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I wrote this down and read it back to him, and he said that this is what he was trying to communicate to my pastor. I'm sorry that you loved me more than I loved you. And it's kind of similar to the first one of talking about you, but I was a bad friend and I didn't appreciate or realize how much you, my pastor, actually loved me and prayed for me. And there's a lot of pastors out there who people will just up and leave, and they have been praying for you and your family for months, years. You call them in the middle of the night. You call them when you're stressed. They come have coffee with you. They take you out to dinner. They love on you. And then you get mad over them not taking you to the fair.
Yeah.
And you just disappear.
Yeah.
You block them on social media. You block their phone number and you're just gone.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. And they've prayed for you. They've cried with you.
Yeah.
They've come and visited you in the hospital. And you just leave?
Yeah.
He said, that hurts.
Yeah.
Like, I lose sleep. I cry about that stuff sometimes when that happens. That hurts.
Yeah.
And so we can be so quick to think our leaders aren't thinking about us because they're too busy thinking about other people or someone else or something more important. And although sometimes that is the case, we have no idea. Mm-hmm. Like I said way earlier in the episode, no one loves the church as much as they do their church.
Yeah.
No one's
and
praying.
that includes you.
Yeah. No one's praying for you more outside of maybe your spouse and your parents than your pastor.
Yeah.
If you're in a healthy community. So before you get mad and just ghost, talk with someone. Talk with your pastor. Talk with your ministry leader. Talk with whoever you need to talk to, whoever you have the issue with, according to Matthew. And just say, hey, I'm really struggling with these things right now. Am I crazy? What's going on? What happened? What's this about?
I also think there's nothing wrong that if you have found that this place isn't for you, but let a brother know.
Let someone know, hey, you know what? I'm going to find different, this is what I'm looking for and blah, blah, blah. We have people all the time who say, I love you, but I don't really like the preaching.
Yeah.
Or I don't really like the worship or the whatever. It's too loud. It's too, y'all jump too much, whatever. And it's like, okay, fine. Let's get you where you want to go.
Yeah.
But do that before you take your emotions, stake them as fact, and then make decisions based off of that. Because that's just unhealthy. The Old Testament, I forget where it is. I should have wrote this down. I just remember, it just came to my memory just now. I think it's Jeremiah where he says the heart is easily deceptive. Don't follow your emotions.
Might be a proverb.
Maybe it's proverb. It sounds fancy, but you know what I'm saying. It'll be I'll put it in the thing below.
It's easily deceived. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's easily deceived and it's corrupt, and so we can't take our emotions as fact.
Yeah.
It's hard. It is hard as a pastor or leader to pour into someone's life or family just to be ghosted and never even know why.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is just tell them, hey, you went to the fair without me.
Yeah.
And that hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
End of conversation.
Yeah.
Apology or no apology.
I've always said, we've actually just had this conversation, that I try to never give myself the right to be mad at somebody who doesn't know that I'm mad at them.
Yep.
Because I haven't given them an opportunity to fix it. I haven't given them an opportunity to apologize. I haven't even given them an opportunity to maybe hear their side of why that happened, you know? And although very difficult sometimes, and I'm not perfect about it, it has saved me a lot of frustration and heartbreak. With anybody in my life.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. So this is my closing notes. We're right on time. Just a few minutes.
Every pastor ever.
In closing, if you would like to come play the whatever, the keys. If you're a pastor and you're listening to this, I just want to say that I hope you really do feel loved and encouraged and supported, that you are leading a true community of people, and you deserve all the support and all the love, and people should be praying for you as much as you're praying for them. But I also hope that you feel humbled and always remember that you and me are on the same level trying to figure this thing out. Even at church on Sunday morning, you might be the lead guy or gal with the microphone, but we're all on the same team trying to get to the same place. You're just quarterbacking this thing for a minute. But other than that, we're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And you deserve the support and the love, 100%. Which leads me to, if you're a Christian and you're listening to this, you're not a pastor, but you're just a believer, just a church, goer. And you're serving. Always remember margin and boundaries, along with a personal relationship with Jesus, is what will sustain you and keep you serving for the long haul. One of the things our pastor says all the time that I love so much is, I just want you to still be loving Jesus in 10 years. I just want you to still love coming to church in 10 years, even if it's not my church, even if it's not with my friends. I just want you to still be doing it.
Yeah.
And we've been going to church. We've been married almost 10 years. We've been going to church together almost 12 years now. And I've seen so many of our friends from when we started to where we are now don't even claim Jesus anymore. And I just want to still be done. I'll be 30 next year. I just want to be doing this when I'm 40 and when I'm 50, whatever that looks like. So know that. And know that serving in your church is not a direct relationship of your, let me rephrase that. Serving in your church is not a direct representation of your relationship and your love for Jesus. Those are two different things. And then the last person who's listening to this, if you're a Christian or a believer or somewhere in that category, but you're not serving, you're still in that anger, bitter, I can't believe they did that, I can't believe they said that, or they let me down, or they hurt me, or whatever. Whether it's because you're hurt, burned out, new to the faith, whatever, you need to serve. You are meant and designed to be a part of community. So go find a community and be a part of it. It's what you were made to do. And you said this earlier, Miss Amanda. There is nothing better than pouring into a community that you are an active part of, that loves you and gives you the opportunity to love them in return. There's nothing better than that. That's what we were designed to do. It's what God created us to do. And I think that's what Sunday mornings are all about. It's not all about just listening to some songs and listening to a guy or girl say some words, but it's about worshiping and being a part of a community that does that. And so to the pastors, I'm sorry. I'm sorry when I have to tell you no, and I'm sorry when I was a bad churchgoer. And I think we could all do better. Pastors and churchgoers alike, I think we could all do better. Like I said at the very beginning, let's all just focus on the log in our own eye instead of the speck in each other's. Give each other a little bit more grace.
Yeah.
Talk a little less, love a little more.
Yeah.
And we'll be all right.
Yeah. I think pastors need to understand that, like, time at church and level of service doesn't equally correlate with their love for God, and same with churchgoers. What the church doesn't represent God to you.
Yeah.
Because like you said, they're in human hands. So if they hurt you, if you're burnt out, that's not your whole relationship with God. There's many other layers.
Yeah. Well, a pastor once said to me, and this will be the last point I make. A pastor once said to me that the church is the only idol you can have that people will applaud you for having.
Yeah.
because we correlate.
Yeah.
The more you're at church, the more you do at your church,
the more you love
you love God and love Jesus and are look how sacrificial they are and all this stuff. And it's like at some point though, God created, you're still on the earth to be a part of a community. And so I've loved it. I love getting to do this again some more. We're actually filming in your art studio. We talked about building this over the last couple episodes, I think.
We did. The one with Annie out here when was
the
just
garage episode was out here. The slab episode was on the slab. It's done now. So this mural behind me, Miss Amanda did all on her own, and
I did in my first trimester with the flu.
Yeah, just puking your guts up painting this mural.
I literally would paint a stroke, vomit in the trash can because it had to be done.
Well, and the camera shot here only shows a few, but the wall behind you is all student art, and there's more student art over here. And so this is your studio, but it's also a space now where we can do this and not have to worry about kids screaming and everything else. But I've really enjoyed getting to do this with you again. I really do feel like this is what we're called to do in this season. And so I love getting to do it with my best friend.
Yeah, me too.
And so I'm super honored. And to our Broom Tree family, thank y'all for listening. If you're still on,
I tried to keep them under an hour.
I'll trim it. I'll trim it. I don't know exactly where I'll land, but I'll trim it. But thank you guys. We're always praying for y'all. We love you. Share this not just with your pastor, but with someone that you know, that you love, that maybe has gone through something rough with their church.
Apply it.
Yeah, and do it. Yeah, do what we say. If you think it's what's good for your life. And we love y'all. And we will see you guys next episode. Peace.